Let's look at simplifying algebraic fractions. We're going to do problems from page 199. The homework was 17 through 25, and then page 242, numbers 38 to 43. So let's first start at page 199 and problem number 17. And that problem is 18 over 44. Now this one is not actually an algebraic fraction because you don't have any letters in there. So what you're trying to find is a common factor of 18 and 44. They're both even, so divide them both by 2 and then see what comes next. 18 divided by 2 will give you 9, and then 44 divided by 2 gives you 22. Those two do not have any common factors, so 9 over 22 is in simplest form. Let's look at 19 next. And number 19, you have 30 over 37. Now, if you try to find common factors of these, you will not find any at all. So this is already in simplest form. So the way you answer that is to just put simplified, reduced, already in lowest terms, whatever terminology you would like to use there. One thing that you want to make sure you're not doing, and I have a lot of students do when they are at a loss, is on a calculator do 30 divided by 37 and end up with some sort of decimal. You do not want to take that step. When it is a fraction to start with and you're just putting it in lowest terms, just keep that a fraction all the way through. And number 21 is 17 over 51. This one is not quite as obvious, but 17 is actually the common factor here. Sometimes that works. Always give that a shot. See if one will go into the other. 17 divided by 17 will give you 1. 51 divided by 17 is 3. So your simplified fraction is 1/3. All right, so those are the odds from 17 through 21 for simplifying fractions that don't have, let me get that back up, that don't have any letters in them. Now next, let's look at number 22 out of that set on page 199. So number 22, you have letters. You have an A on top, and in the denominator, you have a to the 4th power. Now the way you want to think about these, instead of trying to memorize how to do it, is that means there's one a on top, and this exponent of 4 means that you have 4 a's that are multiplied times each other in your denominator. Now anything that's the same on top and bottom, you can cancel those out in pairs. So if you just look at this first pair, it's a divided by a, and you already know that anything divided by itself will just be 1. So you can cancel those out, and that will keep a 1 at the top. So your answer needs to be written as 1 over, and since you have a times a times a, that's a to the 3rd power. All right, next, let's look at number 24. Now, as you're doing this, number 23 is just like 22, so the same principle applies. Number 24 is 12m over 15m. Now here, again, you can split this out. You've got 12 times m on top, and on the bottom you have 15 times m. And in the book examples of the chapter, you found a common factor of 12 over 15. So you're simplifying 12 over 15 separate from canceling your m's. But since you just have one m on top and bottom, those will cancel both to 1, so they don't affect anything. Then you want a common factor of 12 and 15. So hopefully 3 comes to mind for you. So I'm going to divide both by 3, and that'll give me my simplified fraction of 4 over 5. Now in the book examples, when you have 12 over 15, the way it shows this, and it works fine if you want to view it this way, is 3 times 4 over, and then 15 is 3 times 5. Since 3 divided by 3 is 1, you're just left with your 4/5 that you arrive at for your answer. Now 25 is the exact same problem. You just reduce your fraction, and these will cancel. So make sure you reduce that fraction before you submit a final answer for number 25, and that is everything from this first part on page 199. So let's look forward to page 242. Now the way these are different is they're set up as multiplication problems. So now let's look at the first one, 38. 38 is 4a over 5. multiplied times 3 over a. Now when you multiply fractions, you just multiply across the top terms and you multiply across the bottom terms. Do not come up with a common denominator. So 4a times 3, 4 times 3 is 12, put the a in. And on the bottom, 5 times a is just 5a. Now you notice we have one a on top and one a on the bottom, so you note that those cancel. And there are no common factors between 12 and 5, so it's fine to leave your answer as 12/5. If you check your answers in the book, this will apply only to odds, of course, but if you make this into a mixed number, it would be 2 2/5. I actually prefer at this point that you just stop right here. That'll serve you better in our next sections. 39. Right, number 39 is 3x over y times 9y over x. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply across the top. You can cross simplify here, but I'm not going to introduce that just yet. You have 3x times 9y. Multiply your 3 and 9 together first, and you get 27x, y. And on the bottom, you again have x, y. Put those in alphabetical order just to make sure they're in the same order on top and bottom. And you notice you have 1x on top that cancels with 1x on bottom. 1y on top, it cancels with 1y on the bottom. So all you're left with in this problem is 27, and that's your final answer. All right, let's move on to number 40. Number 40 is 12 over jk multiplied by 3k over 4. Now let's do it the same way we did 38 and 39 first. You do 12 times 3 and you get 36. And don't forget that that k is on top. And then on the bottom, you have 4 times jk. Now in algebra, the number comes first, and then j comes before k in the alphabet, so that's the best way to write it. When you simplify this, 36 over 4, you don't have to worry about common factors because 36 can be divided by 4 evenly, and you get 9. The k cancels with the k here. Now 36 divided by 4 gives you 9, but 9 will be on top. If you divide 4 by 4, you get 1. If you divide 36 by 4, you get 9. And the 9 will always be on top. Whole numbers are on top there. And then j is left here, don't forget it, and it goes at the bottom. Now that we did it this way, I want to go back to this step, the original problem, and show you how to cross simplify that. What you're essentially doing is dividing your bottom number into the top one. And you can do that before you multiply everything out. So 4 goes into 12 3 times. And you can go ahead and cancel on the diagonal also. Those two k's will cancel out. And look at what's left. On top of here, you have 3 times 3, which is 9. And on the bottom, all you're left with is j. And that's on the bottom. So you can completely skip this step if you cross cancel first. So it'll speed you up and make you a little more accurate. The less steps you do, the less likely you are to make a mistake on it. All right, let's look at number 41. 41 is 8 over c multiplied by c squared, or c to the second power, same thing, over 11. Now we can go ahead and multiply across the top and then multiply across the bottom, but I prefer to do cross simplification on this one. I can simplify across diagonally or up and down. So let's cancel this c with one of these. You notice it's c to the second power, which means c times c. So I'm just going to put that up there just as a little reminder of what c to the second power means. There is one c here, so it's going to cancel with one of those c's. So all you're left with is just c. You can shortcut that process by just marking out your exponent if you're going from 2 to just a single term. Now multiply across the top after you've cross simplified, and you get 8c on top, and you get 11 on the bottom, and 8c over 11 is your answer. Moving on, number 42, you have n over 18 multiplied by 6 over n to the 4th power. So let's cross simplify. That's what you need to get good at. You have one n on top, and then you have 4 n's here. This n to the 4th means n times n times n times n. So 1 n cancels with one n underneath. So that leaves you with 3 n's at the bottom. Now on top, 6 goes into 6 one time, 6 goes into 18 3 times. So you're cross-simplifying, leaving you with a 1 on top. And notice there's nothing here that's canceled out, so that means this is 1 also. 1 times 1, make sure you put that on there. And on the bottom you have a 3 here, and you have 3 n's left. So write that n to the power of 3, and that's your final answer. And the last one in your problem set for the homework is number 43, which is x over 2z. And that's going to be multiplied by 2z squared over 3. Now you can't do anything with the x, and you can't do anything with the 3, so that's going to be in your answer. You want to view the base and exponent separate from your coefficient. 2 is your coefficient here. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, so you don't have to worry about the 2's. This z will cancel with one of these. So on top, just write what you have remaining. You have an x, and you have one z, and underneath of it, all you have is a 3. So there's the rest of your problem set from page 242, 38 to 43, and then we did a number of those from page 199. So make sure you understand how those work. Feel free to do some extra problems as practice.